I mean, I'm fine with that. I wasn't looking at your camera, and when you said take your shirt off, I thought you meant literally get topless. I was like, we are relaxed here, but not that relaxed. Hey, if you thought vehicle compliance was sexy and interesting, then you've come to the right place. This is The Rock Show, a kind of down the pub chat about transport compliance and how it is good for us all. I'm Alan, the CEO,
And I'm John, Head of Compliance at Compliance Rocks.
and welcome to The Rock Show. Yeah, no, so I think so. We've discussed kind of so what's the biggest topic we've been discussing this week? I guess it's probably the training that is sort of making changes in the industry right now with CPC going online. Uh,
Well, yeah, it's to say you don't do online CPC training. It used to be no, you're never going to be able to do that. Never can. You can't govern it. And now it's like, yeah, actually we can.
I personally can't see why they're doing it. Like there was a big push for September last year because everyone had their dates kind of running out there, but this is only going to be a short term thing. Is this to keep? Do you reckon this is to keep training providers in jobs, or is this got some other motive?
I don't think it's because of that. I think they know there's going to be a lot of drivers sitting at home doing nothing. So maybe they want to keep them engaged.
Yeah, possibly.
Or it could be what we read the other day with regards to old drivers coming out of retirement to get back on the road to help with this pandemic.
Yeah, I guess that would explain it because I mean it's just 3 months. Like there's bigger things to worry about than training. I would have thought, but maybe not. Maybe it is. I kind of assume that a lot more drivers are going to be driving now. I mean, I say we were talking to a few of our clients this week, and they're all sort of saying they might be not pulling their normal loads, but they're pitching in where they can.
Well, yeah, I don't quite understand. There's always has been a driver shortage, and there probably always will be a
Yeah,
driver shortage. But considering they're closing all down non-essential, operations, there must be loads of drivers that work in the non-essential area. So surely it's the case of them going right. I'm going to contact an agency. I want to do work for Aldi's, M&S.
I wonder whether the haulage companies that support like the whole Tesco's and little stuff don't have any more vehicles. So I guess it's not just a driver shortage right now. It might be a shortage of actual vehicles because there's a bigger demand for vehicles to do the moving, not just the drivers to do the driving. So I wonder whether that's sort of having something to do with it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, yeah. I wonder how agencies are faring right now with work, and also vehicle rental companies.
I think the vehicle rental companies are the ones that are going to be cashing in right now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they're going to be manic.
so yeah, I think yeah, I guess the CPC stuff is an interesting one because we discussed this last year, didn't we? When we kind of decided we wanted to look to expand our operations into different areas, and we're like, well, obviously my background of training it sat quite well, but to deliver to become a CPC training centre was so hard, wasn't it? Did you look into it as well? Or was it just me that looked into it?
No, I remember sort of having a brief look on the government guidelines and all the many hoops you have to jump through. It's not the easiest of things. Like, I understand why it's not meant to be easy, but yeah, it looked quite difficult.
Yeah, I guess it is it's a governmental led thing. I guess they've got to have a certain level of control there to make sure that they are actually delivering it properly. Problem is, I mean, I'm sure our listeners and our viewers don't necessarily fall into this category, but there are some really shocking training providers out there, aren't there?
Yes, yes. They're death by PowerPoint presentation. I've had many, and the funny thing is, I've done some very important courses, like my transport manager CPC, which is what you need if you want to run your own organisation, the transport industry, properly. Yeah, to do mine literally by PowerPoint presentation and giving a copy of the slides to make notes on. It
Yeah,
was just poor.
yeah. It's I mean, we spoke about this on another discussion, didn't we, about kind of technology and transport and how it is affecting um, education and delivering of different services like that. But yeah, the death by PowerPoint is just not conducive with learning in any which way. Far more interactive, far more engaging needs to be the one, not just didactic talking at someone for 7 hours. But at the end of the day, it's hard to argue with these people because if you're going to do death by PowerPoint, it's going to work because people don't want to pay any money. If you want decent quality training, you have to pay for it. But the problem is nobody cares about decent training because it's been so heavy-handed, top-down. You need to do this from the government. You're always going to have people going, well, I'm just going to be ticking a box. So as long as I get it for the cheapest service possible, I'm going to tick a box. People don't realise the value in it because actually, I mean, I've never been on a CPC course myself, but having been a trainer for most of my working career, you do get those people that sit in courses just there to be there and tick a box, and I take that as
I'm here because my boss told me to be here.
Yeah. Or my boss has told me to be here because he's been told by the government to put me here, sort of thing. And I must say, I take that that was always my personal challenge to try and convince them that what they're learning is valuable. I guess it's refreshing to see them putting stuff online, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, and I suppose it comes back to, I think you can do online because a lot of people are against online training.
Yeah.
You know, we've had discussion many times. You being an old trainer, me having done lots of training.
Less the old.
As in, I've done lots of training. I've worked for lots of big companies and I've worked for lots of small companies. I've done all sorts of different training courses where it's just been sat around a table, talking through it, and then interactive. Of course, having someone to speak to, online. When people sum up online training, they just think of electronic learning, don't they? I've got to sit in front of.
They see death by PowerPoint, just that you get to click through
on a computer,
not someone else. Yeah. That's all it is.
It's pretty images, pretty graphics, and pretty sound effects. But it's the same.
Yeah.
And I think if this online training can be done properly, because obviously there is a lot of on CPC training courses, there is a lot of interactive sessions, there are lots of Q&A sessions.
Yeah.
I think if they can do it properly, I don't see why this couldn't change forever. Why would just do it for the next several months if they can govern it and it's proven to be a good job and it's cost effective?
Personally, I think it's massively cost effective. Being an independent trainer, I always had to worry about paying for the hire of room and tea and coffee. If you go, like some of the places I looked at, like you're looking at like £150-200 for a conference room, like meeting room thing in a conference centre, and then they're going to charge you like £3-4 a cup of coffee at break time and stuff. It's like, it's just not sensible. Like the amount of money, because you can't charge whatever course you're delivering. If it is work based learning, if it's hoi polloi heavy duty stuff where you can charge £900 a day for a course, which there are courses out there that, as Mary's been on courses where it's cost her £1,000 a day to be there for her high level stuff. She's not paid for that. Work has paid for that, but it's been a highly sought after subject matter. Yeah. Charging £200 for a room and £5 for a cup of coffee is fine. But when it's 60, 70, 80 quid a course and you can only fit 10 people in a room, by the time you take it into upload fees and admin fees, booking fees, credit card fees, room fees, transfer fees, expenses, petrol, all that sort of stuff, you're not left with much at the end of it as a trainer. And it sounds really money grabby, but I'm guessing we know this being a small business owner, and I'm guessing our listeners do as well. Like, it's not being money grabby; it's just trying to pay the bills, isn't it? I mean,
well, at the end of the day, though, you're not going, I'm going to train people because I want to improve the world. Improving the world, unfortunately, won't pay your mortgage or put dinner on the table. You still need to earn some money from what you do.
Yeah, I mean, you can have the underlying motivation to do this as being, I want to change the world, because I think we both believe that we are changing the world in what we're striving to do with Compliance Rocks, aren't we? I feel the software we're developing and the way we're going to be partnering with people that deliver different services to a wide range of clients. Like it has we are going to make a difference. We're going to be removing crap from the industry. We're going to be removing crap suppliers because we have a high standard to what we deliver and who we work with, and hopefully that is going to improve. But you can't have that as your only motivation day in, day out. It has to be sitting there, but it can't be that as you say, that you still got to get down and dirty doing it every day. I read this is probably off topic now, but I was reading a blog the other day about kind of how to tell your company story. I'll try and summarize it best I can. There's 3 stories you got to say that you got to be able to say all the time. Story A, story B, and story C. And the best way of explaining it is to take how TV shows, a good TV show should structure themselves. So story A is the episode. That's you can watch if a TV show is written well, you can watch one episode and it makes sense. Story B is the season or the series storyline. So that's the overarching theme for the whole series, like from episode 1 to episode 1 to episode 12 of the series. So if you don't watch all of them, it won't make sense. But if you watch one of them, you won't get story B just from watching one episode. You'll get clues and hints, but you won't really get. It won't make sense as its own. And then story C is the overarching whole point of the TV show. Now I can't. I don't really watch that much TV that people would watch, so I can't think of any examples. But you always got to be thinking about story A. That's where you are right now. That's where we are at this second. You can have wonderful ideas of where you want to be with story C. You got to communicate those as a team and to make sure you're always moving forward towards that story. But fundamentally, you still got to be doing the stuff on the ground every single day to get the job done. And I think that's a really kind of nice, neat way of explaining it. I didn't really explain it that well. I must say, when I read it, it made more sense.
No, but I think I get it though. I think I get it, and I'm trying to think of TV shows that you use an example, but I can't.
I think the best example I can think of is, I mean, this is proper dated reference now, is Doctor Who. Christopher Eccleston, circa 2005, when Billy Piper was his sidekick, and like watching it for the first time, it was obviously Doctor Who had not been around for a decade or two or whatever, and so I didn't really know much about Doctor Who. And it's amazing. Like each episode was episodic. It was like, wow, it was amazing. You got this thing, and then when you get to the end, you go, oh my god, there was all these clues going through. Like it was the one with the big bad wolf, I think, was the overarching theme. And then he does a time flashback to the other episodes, and you see graffiti in the background with the word "big bad wolf" on the wall that you didn't notice in the first time you saw it, but then it all made sense towards the end. That would be story A versus story B, and then but ultimately Doctor Who is time traveling through space and time. That is story C. That's the overarching theme of the TV show. So yeah, I think there's.
I was going to go for something more simple like Friends. You know. Anyway, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, Friends. Yeah, I mean, Friends is definitely probably a better example. Should we cut that bit out?
Nerd. I've never been into Doctor Who. I don't know why. I feel like I want to give it a try. But
I quite like this new series with what's her name? The female Doctor. What's her name?
One from Broadchurch.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but she's good. Yeah, it's good to. It's good to. Yeah. Anyway, that's totally off topic. But the point is, we have this wonderful idea of where we want Compliance Rocks to be this thing, this force for good that's going to change the nature of the industry. But we can't do that now. We're not doing that right now. All we can do is what we can do right now. This whole discussion we've been having over the last few months about partnering with organisations. That's really been story B. Getting to the point where we can now start doing that is really key. So yeah. Wow, that got deep pretty quickly and kind of wide ranging. Yeah. So I guess the CPC training is one thing that's kind of come out in the last couple of days to our attention because of the conversation we've been having. But kind of independent of that was I guess our discussions we've been having over the last few months around our Toolbox Talks tool that we're looking to develop. You still have reservations, don't you, about this going live?
Yes. Yes and no. obviously I just remember we used to do them live, and they were a nightmare to organise. People were sporadic getting on, and you had multiple people doing the same courses, not realising it was a different course. Whether this was our fault of not communicating it properly or their fault, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the difference was we did these. It was what, February, March last year. This was a long time ago. Like when we first started doing them. Yeah, I think the issue was we had a lot less clients, and we use a very different form of technology as well. We were trying to get people to use Zoom, which, I mean, 7 days ago, nobody really knew what Zoom was outside of the tech circles, whereas everyone and their dog is using Zoom now. So the people are more accepting of using technology now to see content, which I guess is the reason why we're looking to speed up and launch it. Because I mean, we had the great idea of the Netflix or Toolbox Talks, which is and will be a great idea, where there's lots of content there for our clients to access at point of need. They have a driver that makes a mistake, and you want to deliver a Toolbox Talk rather than digging some pointless thing out of a folder or finding it online. You get a decent, well-delivered piece of content on demand on their phone. Yeah, okay, it's great. But actually right now, what people want is content live delivered and live streamed. I do think the concept of delivering training online and doing it live streamed will work with our clients now. Admittedly, a lot of people are still busy working. There's not as many drivers parked up as maybe first thought. But it's still, I think, something that's worthwhile doing. But yeah, I get the headache of it. So I guess the difference would be now we're going to start charging as well.
Yeah, but that wasn't really a driver for us last year, was it? We were just trying to add free content to help our customers.
Yeah, that's when we're doing the odd one just as and when as a freebie. If we're going to be delivering sort of 2 or 3 sessions a day every day, that's the potential for a lot of content that people can access. We want to make sure people are. I mean, I find this in all areas of having. I know I'm banging home the point, but being a trainer, I know psychology behind people booking things and stuff. And generally, if someone's paid for something, they put more value on it than if they don't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
I say in a very previous life, I was a water sports and sailing instructor. That was, as you know, was my was never a day job of mine, but was always a hobby.
Were you a trainer before you did this? Were you a trainer?
I hate you. Yes, I was a trainer.
Shoot.
But being a water sports instructor, I remember the sailing club I was an instructor at. They ran some free sessions, and it was a free 6-week course, like 6 Saturday mornings. And the amount of drop-offs, we had people turning up for session 1, really eager, and then because they hadn't paid for it, they never came back. However much of a good time they had, they're like, oh, actually, I need to go and do parkrun, or oh, actually, I've got to go shopping, or the kids have got to go to ballet. I didn't think of that, or I've got a birthday party. It's always something else that comes up. People don't value that time if they're not paying for it. I think that kind of comes back to, I know workplace training should be paid for by the business and not by the driver, but I think that sometimes can have a big impact on how drivers view training. Is if they're not paying for it, they don't see the value in it. So I wouldn't know how to change that round.
Well, yeah. No, well, I suppose it depends on the course, doesn't it? Because it's a lot of staff always feel that the employer should pay for all the training, everything. But CPC has always been a weird one because the whole point of the CPC is for a lorry driver to keep their license. So it's kind of like, it's my license. I want to be a lorry driver. It's my responsibility for me to keep my license up to date.
Yeah, it's a hard.
So it's a difficult.
It is a hard one because like who pays for medicals?
In theory, it should be the driver
because it's a part of the.
It's his license. It's his livelihood.
But then equally, he's driving for a company that requires him to have that license. So I can see the arguments on both sides. Yeah, it's difficult. But yeah, going back to the whole kind of who pays for training is, I think paying for training generally, I think if something is paid for, people get a lot more value out of it. Freebies get you so far, but actually people want to value stuff, and if we don't value it if we stop charging people for it or don't charge people for it, people won't value it, and therefore we won't get the uptake. So I think the price point that we've come up with makes sense, doesn't it? £5 a month per driver.
Oh, it's a steal.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a bargain. For that much expertly and lovingly written content.
Yeah.
And delivered with a beautiful smile.
And delivered by. Do you know I was a trainer? You know, I delivered training.
No.
Yeah, I know. Who knew, right?
Very aware. I sound like. Do you remember the program Home Improvements with Tim Allen?
Before my time.
Oh, okay. Because he used to go, huh? And I'm very aware. I keep sounding like, huh?
That's your impression of Roxy, your dog.
Yeah, I don't. She keeps giving me dirty looks with the conservative dogs. She's outside in the decking. She's away now. But she's every time I look up, she's carrying something large in her mouth, and it seems getting progressively bigger. She came out with some weird ping pong ball looking thing. Now she's walking around with a tennis ball, and now she's walking around with part of a pot plant in her face. Yeah. So it's progressively just getting fuller and fuller and fuller.
You're gonna get a basketball and a tire next.
Oh, she's so thick.
Yeah, no, I think a £5 is fine though. I think a £5 sits well with people, and it's scalable. If you've got more drivers, you pay more money. But £5 is, I mean, how much do you spend on bloody cups of coffee every day? I mean, that's always. I must say, it's how we price everything, isn't it? Is we come up with a price point that we think is valuable and how much time and effort goes into creating the content to deliver the service. And then we go, does that make sense? And then we always generally come back to how many cups of coffee does that buy, don't we?
Yeah. And £5 a month, how much does it cost a coffee from a petrol garage? I think it's £2.50 or £2.95.
Nothing now because they're all closed. My coffee machine has had so much action in the last week, it's unreal. I've been making flat whites. I've had 2 or 3 flat whites a day, and it's saving me an absolute fortune not going to Starbucks all the time.
Yeah, we are not sponsored by Starbucks, even though I do like a caramel
frappuccino. I'd say we're not sponsored by Starbucks, but if any Starbucks executives are listening, please do get in touch. We are accepting sponsorships.
Yeah, do you know what? I really fancy a decent cup of coffee now.
Well, I would say, come on. I've picked your coffee cup up from the office when I went in last week to go and empty stuff out. So it's sitting on my windowsill at the moment. So I can make you a cup of coffee, put it outside, leave it 10 to 12 hours, all the bad stuff dies, and then you can have it.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I might make myself some cold brew tonight. I keep threatening, I'm going to make some cold brew, and Sarah's like, no, don't make cold brew, you maniac. So I might make some tonight. You never know.
Anyway,
sorry. Talk about training. It's like it's funny. We talk about like online training, sitting in the comfort of your own home, having your own coffee, your own food. The amount of courses I've been on where the food is just crap. So I shouldn't say the CRAP word, but it's just like, do you know what I mean? It's awful.
I mean,
it's literally like cold vol-au-vents. It's not the 80s anymore, you know?
Yeah, that reminds me of the Peter Kay sketch where he's going down the wedding table, like vol-au-vents. I can't remember what the clip was now. I'm sure we can have Stu editing that clip into here now to show what I mean, but it's a really funny clip of Peter Kay.
And vol-au-vents.
Yeah, at least you get food. I mean, I'll say I never gave food to our clients because the cost, well, you're so dependent on price that if you start paying, because I mean, even those really crappy plates of food, you're looking at least a tenner a head.
Oh, well, our office we work in, we've seen the leaflets, how much they charge, but I think it's like £11 or £10.95 or something per head. Yeah, the food looks good.
To be fair, the food is quite nice.
The
food is quite nice. I must say, whenever they've had leftovers, they put them in the breakout area. I do tend to go and help myself to a sausage roll or something, and they are quite nice. But the point still remains: you don't get a choice of your own food. The point still remains: you don't get to choose your own food.
Oh no, it's just yeah. No, but it's another stress, like another advantage. Not that we're doing pros and cons of online versus classroom, but you know, my wife is gluten free. She's not celiac, but she has really bad reactions to gluten,
Yeah.
and I couldn't imagine if she had to go. I've seen people in the past that do have gluten intolerances and food intolerances. The meal's got to be kosher or halal. And the amount of effort, the amount of hassle I see them go through, it's like, guys, online training, make your own food.
I mean, you could argue that just take your own damn lunchbox with you for a meal, but I mean, yes, you're not going to have a.
Yeah, you could do, but I've been on some courses that have been sort of like a week, 2 weeks, and you're based in a hotel 5 nights a week, and you go home for the week and come back. You can't go out. I remember one training course. You would have thought it's in a hotel. The food would be really, really good. The food was mediocre. Again, I'm not a food snob. I eat anything. I'm not fussy. But like cold slop.
Yeah.
And again, if you had an intolerance, you weren't catered for.
No.
I'm sure they would have if you gave them sort of 6 months' notice. You could have a cold jacket potato.
Yeah, it's not.
But
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah, that's kind of a non-point, I think, because you can just take your lunch with you or whatever. But yeah, the point does remain, I guess, the benefits of online learning. I think it's trying to break down that view that online digital learning is that death by PowerPoint, click through, watch an animation, click through sort of jobby. I think there has to be interactivity, and even if it is just didactic, receive information, which, let's be honest, what we're doing here and what people are actually going to watch of this is that it's no interactivity. We're just chatting. But as long as it's engaging content, I think even that could be better. It's just the amount of trainers that are so bloody boring. It's unreal. Like, if you're engaging enough, I mean, I always said if I stopped enjoying what I do, by definition, my clients would have stopped enjoying what I'm delivering. So when I got bored of delivering a type of course, I always moved on to a different one, because if you get to this is this slide and you're there just to churn through, it's like nobody else is enjoying it. Whereas if the person is engaging and enjoys it, I think we're pretty engaging people to listen to. I don't know, maybe we're not, but
I'd like to think so. But it's funny you say that. Like a trainer should be interactive, this and that. There's one training course that you have to do to work in the industry, sort of aggregate, asphalt, quarrying industry. You have to do a qualification to do it. And we've had this conversation before,
yeah,
and I know, but to have this qualification, you attend a 1 day course. Yeah, great, you go there. And it pretty much is, if you have a pulse, you pass. And they're very interactive sessions. They really get you up and you're talking and you're answering questions. But it's a case of the trainer come up to you and go, right, do you not understand the answer? No, okay, well, don't worry about it. When it comes to the exam, you have to pass at the end of this training day to get the qualification. I'll be here to help you. And to hear the conversations going on during the exam, I don't know what the answer is. Is it A, B, C? It's C. No help, nothing. We just want you to pass.
Yeah. I must say, I was delivering a first aid course. It was back end of last year. When we first set this up, I was still honouring some old clients of mine, and I remember having to have a conversation. It was a 3-day course, 3-day first aid at work, kind of the most advanced first aid you can do without going down the route of being a medical practitioner. And like I had to fail this person. I was like, I can't. You're not good enough. I can't put my name to the certificate that you're going to get. That you're then going to be a qualified first aider in the workplace. If you kill someone because of your behaviour, I can't do that. So there's professionalism that I had. I just simply couldn't do it. But on the other hand, I tried my hardest, and you do work really hard with the client to kind of go, well, can I help you with that question? Like, what? Let me rephrase it and see if you can work it out. And language is an issue as well. I know English as a second language does make it difficult, but depending on the industry and what the training is, if you can't understand basic hand signals I think banksman training is a good example where communication is key. You need to understand what words are being said by the banksman. It's nothing to do with what your first language is. If you can't understand basic instructions in the country you're in, then you can't do your job. So it's
and when it starts risking not only your life but other lives. I've seen this plenty of times. Jobs I've had. My last job, that I worked at, we had to do a company induction for you to come and work for us. And the amount of inductees I've had to fail because the basics understanding of the English language, I wasn't asking to recite War and Peace to me. But if I ask you to recite a simple instruction of, when you enter the site, you'll turn left by the blue bin.
Yeah.
If I ask you to repeat that back to me, I expect you to repeat that back to me. Because if you don't know we're going on site, and this is a huge site.
Yeah.
I think my child's having a meltdown.
That's fine.
Hope you can't hear it too much.
I can, but it's fine. It's joys of working from home. But no, the point the point does remain. It's, you could be the best driver in the world and not speak a word of English, but as soon as you get to site and you've got to communicate with where you're going, actually that is still part of your job. Doing the pedals and doing the steering wheel thing is not the only part of your job being a driver. Being a driver is so much more than just driving. And I think people just sometimes forget that you need to have that ability to communicate. I must say, I whenever I drive on the continent, I try and learn words that I'm going to need to communicate when I'm driving. So, like, if I get pulled over or if I have a breakdown, I've got to be able to communicate what's happened, where I am. I try and learn that before I go, because actually people don't always understand English. We can't make the assumption that you understand the language you speak. So it does work both ways for sure. But
no, of course, back to the whole online. Yeah, there are a huge shed load of benefits. Of course, there are disadvantages, but
I think from a business proposition for us though, I think it's, you could argue we're getting on the bandwagon, but because we were always going to be delivering this Netflix Talks for the next few months. We've got the design team working on the content, but there's kind of no point spending months and months developing something without testing it. You need to get it in front of viewers and eyes of people now to go, that's crap. No, that's good. I like that. Can we do more of that, etc. And we had great ideas of doing animated style things, like animation, video, click through, answer a question sort of jobby. But actually, it might be that our clients and our users like the fact that we're doing this. It might be that we just have both of us talking. It might not just be me or you. I know I'm the trainer. I was a trainer. It might not just be me. It might be you as well. We can have this banter between us and deliver a session like this. We could teach each other. Might be that works. We don't.
That could be an interesting way of doing.
Yeah, almost like
having a chat in a pub.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I think. Yeah, it makes it more engaging and a bit more kind of breaks down barriers to learning, I think, which is really important. So,
thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you found it informative and entertaining.
This has been the Compliance Rock Show. As ever, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow us on Spotify. You can always go to compliance.rocks for more information, or drop me an email. That's alan@compliance.rocks. Thanks for listening, and see you guys soon.
Thank you.